What's behind a life?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can everybody hear me? Just give me a thumbs up or say yes or we or da, wherever you are. Good morning. Hey, Jay, good morning.
Hi, Shaw. Good morning.
I can barely hear you, Jay.
You can't hear me?
Okay, getting better now. That's good. Great.
Oh, okay.
That's
Great.
good. No, oh yeah, now it's you now you're loud and clear. Okay,
So
so
where are friends, whether in Canada or elsewhere, globally?
well, we'll let people all the listener to us today about the where they're located. Now, I also want to point out that for those of you that's in Ottawa right now, or near Ottawa right now, Jay and I will be participating in a public event this afternoon. So if you want to meet us in person, by all means, please drop by at the 300 Moody Drive on the second floor, okay, in Bell's Corner. So for those of you that lives in Ottawa. So people are trickling in. So for those of you that's listening right now, please pay attention because we are going to talk about today about the IT landscape in general and more specifically some of the jobs that we're trying to fill on behalf of our clients across Canada. Okay. So, and we're also going to talk a little bit about our job board, how easy it is to apply. So for those of you who's haven't done that before, please pay attention to some of the steps and the demos that we're gonna do for you a bit later. So people are still trickling in. Sorry, once I share my screen with a full slide show, I don't see clock, so I have to check my watch right now. Okay, so we're a couple of minutes away from starting today's webinar. So again, please put in the chat box. Let us know where you're listening from, and then we'll get started very, very, very soon. I also have a little bit of a public service announcement. Is the fact that for those of you that live in Ottawa, they just make the announcement that the flu shots and the vaccines for the new COVID vaccines will be available to the public on October 30th here in Ottawa. I know in some other provinces and some other cities they have started already, so I will strongly suggest, so for those of you who's able, who can take these shots, do take these shots because it's always nice. Prevention is always better than you know the potentials, right? That you don't want to get really sick. So and also you're not doing it for yourself, you're also doing it for your loved ones, right? Especially if you do have a younger children at home or older parents at home in your household. So please get your shots if you can. Okay, so we are gonna get started right now. Okay, it is 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, October 12th, 2023. Thank you once again for joining G-TAC's weekly webinar. Today's webinar will be on topic is building your success in the Canadian tech sector. And more specifically, we're going to talk about the ICT placement program that we are currently running on behalf of currently running to help people that's looking for job, IT, especially work within IT industries across Canada. So this is quite interesting topics. My name is Shaw Kwan. I am the Vice President for Global Outreach and also the Senior Career Consultant at G-TAC. Jay, you want to do a quick introduction?
Good morning. My name is Jay Siddons, and I'm the VP of National Partnerships for G-TAC. I spend a good deal of my time forging relationships with some of our employer partners, or even, not para public organizations, such as some of the municipal governments that are finding and sourcing skilled talent to go to employers in their region. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Jay. And of course, for those of you sitting at home, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are across the country or around the world. Bonjour à tous. Today's presentation will be entirely in English, but and if you do want to ask questions, please try to put them in English. If you can put it in French, and we'll do everything we can to try to translate them. Okay, so and for those of you that's joining us for the first time, for those of you that actually join, who's a long-time listener of G-TAC, you know that we're definitely your one-stop shop for anything and everything related to employment, regardless whether you're a new arrival in Canada, you already receive your documents, you're making your plans to come to Canada, or you're just sitting at home planning to come to Canada, looking for jobs through sponsorship, work permit, and then come to Canada. I know that we have shown this slides quite a bit, so I just want to talk about what makes G-TAC different than other agencies. Well, obviously, it's our experience. We have been serving tens of thousands of job seekers or newcomers over the past 2 decades. We have accumulated a wealth of experience, and that could categorize into several subcategories. Number one, our expertise and knowledge. Over the years, we have gained a deep understanding of the job market, the IT industry trends, and the specific needs of job seekers such as you that's listening right now. And this experience has allowed us to develop effective strategies and solutions to help job seekers like you and employers all across Canada to find the best match. So this is definitely the expertise and knowledge. Number two, we have refined our services. What we provided when we first started back in 2007, when it was a very small operation until now, what we have done, we have continuously to learn and adaptation on what the job market needs. I think Jay can actually attest to that. What the IT industry need 5 years ago is completely different than what they need today, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So we have continuously learned to and adapt to what the markets want and what the job seekers need to do to fit those employers want. So that way, it actually served the purpose, right? Including I know during my career, there's a cycle. You need a cover letter. Then says you don't need a cover letter. Then you need a cover letter. And now a lot of employers asking for a little, it's not a cover letter, but it's a short, concise profile sheet about you. It's interesting how the industry has evolved, and we have continued to adapt to serve you on what the latest trends and what are the and we will continue to coach you on what the market needs are right now. Number three, and Jay knows this better than anyone, is our network and connections. Throughout the past 2 decades, in fact, some of the job seekers that we served a few years back, it's actually our clients right now. They're looking for people to fill their teams. They'll come to G-TAC. So it's our network and connections that we have built relationship with employers, recruiters, industry professionals, economic development offices all across Canada, municipal governments, provincial governments, territorial governments, federal governments. So we have built a vast network and connections to help you to achieve your dream. Number four, over the past 2 decades, we have established a very solid track record of success. I cannot even begin to tell you how many thousands of job seekers we have helped to help them find their dream job, and so they can settle and start their career here in Canada. And of course, we definitely understand your challenges, right? Every one of you have your challenges. We understand that. And it is through these experience that we're able to help you how to overcome those challenges, including issues with job market fluctuations, changing hiring practices, um, evolving technologies, equipment, anything and everything to do with all the changes that's available, the challenges that's available, that are facing you right now. We help you to overcome those challenges. And of course, myself, Jay, and everyone on our team, we also very offer you a very personalized service. Not only that, we offer you these the sheer wealth of experience, our network, our connections, but we also offer you some of the personalized services that we have heard from job seekers. We have heard the feedback from recruiters, and we're sharing those experiences with you so that you have a better understanding and in order to achieve your goal. And of course, with our vast amount of experience and connections, we also get a first-hand industry insight in terms of what our changing needs are. I'll talk a little bit about that later. It's something that phenomenal happened in the past about 6 months also, and then this is gonna change the industry for in the foreseeable future in terms of how the industry will change. And this is something that's coming up very soon. It's happening right now, and we will be able to offer you those industry insights. And of course, throughout the past 2 decades, if we maintain the same business model, same philosophy as what we did when we first started in 2007, we could not possibly survive until now or thrive until now. That is because we have continuously to make improvement or enhance our services so that we can better serve you. So this is G-TAC's difference. So of course, if I need to sum up everything, is we are putting experiences serving tens of thousands of job seekers and working with hundreds and hundreds of employers. We're putting all those experiences together so that we can provide you with expertise, the knowledge, the network, and also the know-how in terms of to achieve your goal. Okay, so this is basically what G-TAC is. And we also provide national and digital platforms so that doesn't matter where you are across Canada or around the world, you'll be able to benefit from our service. Is there anything that I missed? Anything, Jay?
No, I think that was pretty thorough. Please continue, Shaw. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so and we're also the proud organizer of Canada's largest online job fair. We have done that 14 times already. And the last one took place 2 weeks ago on September 26 and 27. So today, since our humble beginning from November 21st, 2016 until now, we have served over 126,000 job seekers through our digital platform. We are extremely proud of that achievement. And of course, we currently have at least 400 active, I'm talking about active employer partners across Canada from coast to coast to coast. Every province, every territory, every time zone. This is something that we're extremely proud of. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we work with economic development corporations, municipalities, municipal governments, provincial governments, and territorial governments. Since mid-2016, the very webinar you're watching right now, we have broadcast over 800 live webinars with various topics that's related, employment-related topics, and that's all here to help you achieve your dream. So now, before I talk about some of the jobs, I want to talk about in terms of the digital economy right now. As you can see in this chart here, as of 2 months ago, We have 2.6 million people employed in this industry in a digital economy. And this is a 27.5% increase since 3 and a half years ago. And you will see in the various charts in terms of the increase, the employment growth. Now, people say, why is Canadians IT industry growing so fast? And we're continuously shortage. We have a continuous ever growing shortage of IT professionals in this field. You know, this is a very, very good question. There's so many people that give answers about why, and I just want to sum up things. Like, for example, because of the digital economy, there's a high demand for IT services. So this is what we call the digital transformation of businesses, and increased reliance on technology. I mean, 15 years ago, if I tell you that you will be holding everything you need to do in your day-to-day life every day is relying on a 6-inch smartphone, you'll be saying we're out of our mind. But now, smartphone, it's like it doesn't matter where you are. That is the way of the future. So that's the way we live in today's world. It's you need to have a smartphone for everything. So the high demand for the businesses has created a vast amount of job vacancies. Number two, and for those of you who obviously know that, is Canada. We have an aging workforce. So many experienced IT professionals in Canada were either retired, approaching retirement, or some of the knowledge they have is obsoleted for what the evolving technology that required for today. So that means there's not enough younger workers to come to replace those vacant spots. So that's why we rely heavily on new immigrants. As I mentioned earlier, skills mismatch. Some people, and in this industry, you're gonna get obsoleted very, very soon if you don't continue to keep up with your knowledge. So the skills mismatch is actually quite a problematic. For example, some of the people that I know 20 years ago, right now they can only do some entry-level job because their skill set was in CDMA, in old technology, whereas right now we talk about 5G and 6G. Okay, so just some of the examples. Another problem is our immigration policies. Right now, Canada, due to the pandemic that we went through 3 years, our immigration policy is really, really outdated, even though the government is trying to make changes to the immigration policies, but our system, the bottleneck is in our system, the processing system, that is still taking far too long. I know two of our clients, candidates, two outside of Canada, gave up. They waited too long. One went to France and the other one went to Australia. So that's two skilled IT professionals that we lost because of our bottleneck, the wait time, the processing time. And of course, number four, this is a very, very important, is we also, our neighbor, the largest economy in the world, the United States of America, they're also grabbing our talent as well. I mean, they have recruiters that's permanently stationed inside some of the best university. So the grads, when they finish, they go directly south, and they pay in US dollars, which is 35% more than what we get here instantly. So that's also a big issue, is we're losing talents to our competition down south. And of course, there's something what we call the various provincial jurisdictions that people, there's all kinds of jurisdiction between province and province, because some of the industry are regulated by the province, so that's also a restriction. So now you can see in this map here, nearly 25 million people, or 80% more. Canada surpassed it. That's a little bit outdated, but I would say that's probably now it's more like a 40 million people. So yeah, about 63% of Canadians lives in the Toronto. We call it great. When I say Toronto, I mean that whole golden horseshoe area from Niagara all the way to Oshawa, including the Peel region, the York region, and the Durham region, right? Did I miss anything? It was Peel region, Durham region, and York region, right? Jay? Yeah. And Montreal, the greater Montreal area, greater Vancouver area, Ottawa, Gatineau area, the greater Calgary area, the greater. So essentially about 63% of the Canadian population live in these six metropolis area in Canada. And over 90% of our IT workforce is employed in 4 provinces: Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, and BC. It's not surprise. These are also the 4 most populous provinces in Canada. We start with Ontario, Quebec, BC, and Alberta. So all this, so it does make sense. The stats does make sense in terms of the where the IT jobs are located. Just give you one example quickly is in Ontario, the median average salary is $83,622, almost 84,000. In Alberta, the average salary is 85,000, BC 80,000, and in Quebec 77,000. There are discrepancies, differences, but that's simply because in certain provinces the tax is a bit higher, and also the standard of living is a bit lower as well. The cost of living is a bit lower as well. So all this to say is definitely it's a very high pay industry. Now, how are we doing on time here? Did I spend too much time on the first few slides? Okay, good. I'm gonna try to rush a little bit so that we can continue take your questions. So some of the jobs, urgently needed jobs that we are trying to help source for our clients are: number 1, a Java backend software engineer, someone with 5 years of experience in that field. The work location will be in Ottawa, where you physically have to be in Ottawa. It could be hybrid to start, but if gradually it will move into 100% in office position. So you have to work back. So the business basically is back to the office. This is definitely, and this is only for people that's legally entitled to work in Canada, meaning you have to be a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, a convention refugees, open work permit holder with at least a year left of expiration. That means that if you do have work permit, you have the expiration date has to be November 2024 or later. Okay, so keep that in mind. And you need to have cloud knowledge, at least a year of cloud network knowledge, or more specifically Google Cloud. That will be ideal, but AWS, Azure, or any other cloud and experience that you have, that is fine. Number 2, senior. So this is almost identical job, except they're asking for people with over 7 years of related work experience. Again, this job will be based in Ottawa physically, so you need to be in Ottawa. You can apply if you're in other cities, but you have to be relocating to Ottawa is part of the job. Now, some of you probably will say, well, you know what? Oh, I live in Vancouver. Let me apply for this job first. Once I get it, I'll start worrying about relocating. If you do that, that's fine. But if at the end, if you do not relocate in the pre-agreed time frame, that's a cost of termination. Okay, so please think seriously. If you want to apply, it has to be you have to relocate yourself to Ottawa. Okay. Chief architect, hardware acceleration for big data engineer. This one is a very, very high level job. It is from one of the top IT company in the world. Basically, you need to lead a whole team, global team. This one, I don't even need to worry. I don't even need to tell you about a salary because it's a very, very high salary, a very competitive salary, but you also need to be in, ideally, you need to be in one of the 4 cities. Markham, which is north of Toronto. That will be a top, ideally. Or you could lead a team based out of Ottawa, based out of Vancouver, or based out of Kingston. Okay, so these are the cities where you have to be physically in here. Now, if you are currently listening to us and you're outside of Canada, you have no work status in Canada, that's okay. If you do fit this job, the employer will consider sponsor you through the LMIA process with the closed work permit so that you can come to Canada and work. Okay, so this one is open for sponsorship. Number 4, chief researcher, new network protocol. This obviously is in tandem with the chief architect. So chief researcher will report to the chief architect, and it will be based in one of the 4 cities I mentioned. Ideally, these 2 should be in the same city, ideally, but doesn't have to. Okay, same criteria, same requirements: Canadian citizen, permanent resident, convention refugee, people with work permit that have over a year left under expiration. And also for those of you outside of Canada, they will consider if you are the right candidate. Okay. So, and of course, if you have any questions, scan the QR code or just click directly on g-tac.ca /job-seekers/ Oh, that's /. There you go. So those jobs are available on our job board. Look for it. If you look for the whole description, I'm not going to go through all the descriptions, but the job descriptions, but look through it on our job board, and there are still many other jobs that's available on our job board. So those are all exclusive jobs to G-TAC. Okay, so please take a moment, check our job board. You see any job any job that you fit, just apply. Jay and I are really busy doing pre-screening interview with candidates right now. I mean, that's basically what we spend a lot of time right now. So please do apply. We will get to you for sure. I will contact with you if you qualify, and we will set up a we call it pre-screening or the first interview with you. Okay, so please take a few minutes, go through the job board. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the ICT placement program. This is in partnership with Lighthouse Labs and ESDC. ESDC, which stands for Employment and Social Development Canada. So this is the federal agencies that we're here to help people, but listen carefully. Only people that's currently physically in Canada right now that holds a Canadian citizenship Canadian permanent resident status, or a convention refugee. Only these three category. If you've one of the three category and you're physically in Canada, you're qualified for the service. So this is a part of the this is all part of the ICT Boost initiative that we are working with our partners. Okay, government funded projects. So essentially, what it does is, if you do qualify for the service, myself, Jay, and our entire team, we're here to help you find a suitable job in the IT industry. Okay, so those of you that's listening right now, if you're in accounting or finance, if you're in marketing, if you're a tech writer, if you're coordinator or anything that's non-tech related, so long as that the job is within the tech company, you will qualify for the service. Okay, and it's absolutely free for eligible, I repeat, eligible client. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's actually also, all the information is available on our website, but I will give you a contact information at the end should you be interested to learn more about this ICT placement program. So once you join this program, we will help you connect with hiring managers to expedite your employment success. I already have several of the job seekers, ICT people that join the ICT placement program already says, "Hey, Shaw, I have applied to this ABC company. Are you able to help us?" We look at it. Oh, of course, I do know. Hey, Jay, you know somebody? If I don't know, I ask Jay, ask three people, then say, "Oh yeah, we do know." Right away, we will submit your resume directly to the person in charge of the hiring at that company. So it's a definitely fast track, a more effective way to help you land a job here in Canada. And of course, we'll help you target your job search. As I mentioned right from the beginning, we'll put our years of experience behind you to help you accelerate your job search and achieve your dream. And of course, we'll help you do a one-on-one mock interview, so that when you do go into real interview, you'll know how to ace those interviews. Okay, so it's very, 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 very effective. The objective of the program is very clear. We're here to help you. Again, who is eligible? Canadian citizen, permanent resident, and convention refugees. You must have IT work experience, education, and training. Even if you're accounting or finance background, if you used to work in an IT company, that works too. Okay. And you definitely need to have a positive actually, the third one is actually pretty much for all job seekers. I don't know, right, Jay? You need a positive attitude, committed to follow the placement process, and complete the required tasks. This is a very general requirement for all job seekers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So once you register, here is our intake process. So once you register on through this ICT placement program, we will have an intake registration. We will screen and confirm your eligibilities. So for all of you that register, we will see a proof of your eligibility, meaning if you're a Canadian citizen, you have a birth certificate. If you're a permanent resident, you have your PR card. Or if you're convention refugees, you should have a refugee status a card or certificate from the IRCC. Okay, we will ask you to confirm that, because this service is free for you, but we need to make sure that you are eligible. Orientations, we do the orientation. Our next orientation is next Tuesday. So please, next Tuesday at 1 p.m. So that's Tuesday, October 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's our next orientation. So register now, and you'll be invited for the orientation. And of course, we help you development of a placement work plan. So a lot of you out there, people say, I don't know, Jay, how many times you heard people say, oh, I applied for 200 jobs and I didn't get any response? How many times have you heard that before?
Many times, but it's pretty normal. I mean, unfortunately, in the job search, we are engaged by employers a minority amount of the time. Secondly, depends where you live too. You mentioned the GTA. The GTA combined with digital platforms like LinkedIn. I mean, some good jobs in Toronto, within 2 days, there's 250 applications. So, you know, the odds that you're going to get here a reply are statistically low, but that's just the nature of the market.
Yeah, exactly. And because you're fighting against the odds, it is more important, more critically important that when you're applying for a job, you need to have a game plan, work plan. We will help you develop this work plan so that you work smarter, you work more strategically, and you work more effectively. So maybe blindly sending out 200 resumes, applications might not be as effective or as smart as if you just send 5. Maybe. Okay, that's what the whole plan is about, is help you to work on regularly so that you know you have a strategy. Not only that, we're going to help you develop this plan, we're going to help you execute this plan and follow up with you. So this is the beauty about this program. So this is a very time sensitive program as well, because it will expire on March 31st, 2024. So take advantage of it now if you haven't done so already. Okay. So once you register, we will send you an intake form and with a checklist. So this is how you will start your work plan. From there, we will one of us will be in touch with you to go through your work plan and start implement those plans and maybe make some corrections or adjustments so that you will know so that you can have a, even though like you set up this plan, you never done this before, you work at this plan, we will help you adjust it so that you know you're definitely not going to go on detour or going in circles. Only direction you will be moving is forward. Okay. We as you can see, we are also asking people right now to put down additional notes, like what other features do you have? Because every employer, when they look for ideal candidates, they need to meet three basic criteria. Number one, can you do the job? Very important. Number two, will you be a good fit for the team? Will the existing team be a good fit for you? And number three, what are your additional value add factors that other candidates don't have? And this is where you need to put that in the profile, additional notes, so that you let people know. I mean, the fact that you can speak multiple language, that's a plus, definitely a plus, because the fact that you can speak multiple languages, meaning that you have an understanding of multiple culture background, right? And Canada, as you know, is a multicultural society. So it's a very important factor. Okay. So so if you're interested in this ICT placement program, and if you're eligible, I would strongly encourage you to take a screenshot right now. This is the person that you need to get in touch. His name is Song Guo. And for those of you who have listened to our webinar in the past, you know that he's also running our training program as well. So he's the manager. He manages our entire recruitment and training program. He's very busy, very busy. So if you are gonna reach out to him, make sure you talk about, I'm interested in ICT placement program. I am a Canadian citizen. I am this. I'm that. And that. Make sure there's no guessing on his part. Everything's on a clearly stated, so we know right away that you are eligible. Okay. I have to tell you, I cannot even begin to imagine how many emails he gets on a daily basis. So do yourself a favor. If you're eligible, you want to take advantage of this program, you make yourself clear. anytime he needs to guess, oh, this person eligible? Then you're gonna go on the other pile, right? If you're eligible right away, he will put you into the program. So get in touch with Songguo at song.g@g-tac.ca. And finally, I'll have one advice. If there's one advice that you need to do right now, is go to LinkedIn, type Global Talent Alliance Canada, and follow us on LinkedIn, where you will get all the latest information, latest jobs, latest programs that we offer for free, or some of the trainings for minimal fees, career focused training, or such as our accounting career focused training will start next. Accounting career focused training will start on Monday, November the 6th, and also various employers that will be here to talk about jobs. I mean, we have a very strong lineup of employers coming up in the coming weeks. So always keep an eye on our website, and also obviously follow us on LinkedIn, where you're gonna get the latest information whenever we post. That will be it for my presentation today. Did I miss anything, Jay?
I think that was excuse me, I'll take out my gum. I I have a piece of gum after I have my morning coffee. So we took a really well, might as well bring back up the PPT, Shaw. Why not? Right? We want people to contact Guosong to register, because I've seen a few people like Yonghua said that she had reached out to G-TAC a few times about the ICT program and hasn't heard anything. So as Shaw said, when you outreach to us, maybe in the header of your email, clearly say, well, ICT boost inquiry, etc. But to answer Shaw's question, did I miss anything? I think we had a really good overview of the tech sector. Generally, we saw across Canada that the sector is growing in terms of employment. And then Shaw mentioned that these types of roles are located in majority of Canada's 5 largest cities, in Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and in BC. Then we talked about we saw that the median salary is going up for a few different, well, all subsectors basically of tech. And Shaw was talking about the median salary in Ontario, which to me sounded a little high. I did a bit of research off camera. It's the median salary is like a low 70s, generally speaking. Someone asked a question, by the way, is that a general or is that the tech salary? So Shaw, now I'm almost correcting myself. Shaw probably referenced average ICT salary. Yeah, it being higher. Yes, but myself just very generally so my research is actually less relevant than Shaw's. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very healthy salary, for anyone, especially for empty nesters who don't have a family or dependents. Ontario is a good place to continue your ICT career. Moving along, we have a jobs board. Shaw and I are setting up screening interviews today, tomorrow, and Monday for some great opportunities. So today we support you. Yes, we certainly have the G-TAC ICT placement program. We want to help you in your career development, but we also have roles too. We have roles on the jobs board. There's 48 of them as of today. So please take a look at the G-TAC jobs board. And I'll put that URL in the chat function.
Yes. While you do that, I just want to, there's a Pedro was asking is, when a position asking for 5 years related work experience, is it a hard requirement? Can I apply with 4 years of experience? Well, Pedro, sometimes I find that that's a very good question. The answer is it depends. We need to work with you to understand, know you thoroughly. Perhaps you have more than 4 years. Perhaps you have 6 years. right? So we need to work with you to understand in terms of what you can do. But also, very importantly, is it depends on how involved you are with that. So basically, the answer is it's a great question. The answer is we don't know. We need to work with you to determine whether if you're good. But if you have four and asking for five, you're very close. Now, if people are asking for 10 years, such as the chief architect role, at least 10 years experience, you only have four. Listen, as much as Jay and I know how to perform magic, but we cannot make up that 6 years. Okay.
I
So
I think that's a great question. First of all, everyone start sending in your questions now. We will start the question and answer period, and we have a 15, 20 minutes to go. So let's start the conversation. Based on what Pedro said, Shaw said, you're getting pretty close, Pedro. And it depends, but if we want to simplify, if I want to simplify an answer, I'd put my hat in there. Yeah. If you're 80% of the way there, which you are, I'd go ahead, Pedro. That's my humble advice. Sometimes job descriptions from employers are like wish lists, like they're writing to Santa Claus. They want to find, or some job descriptions, it's basically two jobs, and you can tell they put them together. I don't see that a lot, but you see, it's almost like the person would be such a superstar that they were so technical, but then had such great soft skills. And I mean, there are those people, but anyways, I don't want to go off topic. I'm just saying that, Pedro, and to everyone listening, I think if your profile has 80% of what the job description is looking for, go ahead, move forward. So Emma asks, is the median salary in Ottawa, Alberta that you mentioned before referring to the tech sector or all? And Shaw told us that he was referring to the tech sector, this data that we're looking here on the screen, ironically. Good question. And similar median salaries, but Alberta has a lower cost of living. So for those of you that have a family, you might consider relocating or landing in Alberta because your housing will be cheaper. Something to think about. So that's a good question, Emma. We were talking about the tech sector. So basically seems like the tech median salary is about 15% higher than the true statistical median of all sectors.
yeah, no, Jay, you hit it right, nail right on the head there. A lot of employers in a job description is usually their wish list, but will they get them with the salary they're gonna offer? It's another story. It's much like you, Jay, because you always told me your wish list is to have an Aston Martin Vantage, the F1 limited edition, right? But will you get it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a peer in our industry. I remember in a presentation, her talking about some job descriptions being a wish list. Like some of them are really a wish list. Another reason, Pedro, to put your name in the hat, so to speak, is that, Pedro, you could be a great candidate. But things might not work in your favor this time, Pedro. But you hopefully will come across the eye of the recruiter who might keep you on file, and you never know, reach out to you 6 months later. So that's another reason, if you're 80% there, to start engaging the employer, because Shaw, it takes time to get a job, an ideal job, and you never know, Pedro. You might have good luck with that employer the second time around, or next year, or even in 2 years. We want, you never want to burn bridges, and I think you should move forward with opportunities that are close to your current profile. Let's continue with some more questions.
Yes. Jay, did you see the Q&A from Dennis Yu?
So I reside in the US, and I was issued an open work visa. I have my entire family in Canada. and I would need a job to help facilitate my relocation. So that's a statement, not a question. Plus, who can I talk with? That's the second question Dennis wrote. I mean, so at Global Talent Alliance Canada, we don't facilitate immigration. So I want to make that clear, right? So we do support people, whether you're in Canada, whether you're a future Canadian who's overseas and you have your PR status. Or as Shaw said, I mean, there's some employers that are willing to consider someone like Dennis, yeah, who has an open work permit. So you are, of course, welcome to proceed on your own, Dennis. And Shaw, do you think Dennis would be a profile? Yeah, the ICT placement program, would that be a starting point for how we would liaise with someone like Dennis?
No, he's got an open work permit. He does not.
Oh,
He
he's not
does not fit
eligible.
the
Yeah.
meet the eligibility.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, guys, the thing without the eligibility is, first of all, that's not complicated. Not by the way, not in terms of our ICT Boost program, but at the end of the day, Canadian employers are mostly looking. Recruiters want to find people who can work, which means eligibility, which means you're a Canadian citizen, you're a Canadian permanent resident, convention refugee with a work permit. International students, when they graduate, can have the right to work now full-time. I believe 3 years. It used to be 1 year, now 3-year open work permit. So, so for people like Dennis, for people like Dennis, I mean, it's just harder to get the employers interested in your profile. That's just the reality of the situation, because people like Dennis are competing against people that are in Canada ready to go and legally eligible to work. They're Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Or a new grad, international student who recently graduated. So, G-TAC, and for example, the ICT Boost placement program, you have to be eligible to work in Canada for us to help you. And if you're not eligible, these types of persons are just a little bit more so on their own. Secondly, an LMIA, for those of you that don't know, that's employer-led, meaning the employer it's employer-led. The employer initiates that and grants that LMIA, not an agency like G-TAC. So that responsibility to move a non-eligible person into the employment realm, it's employer-led. That's how like the LMIA is structured that way. So we would love to help such people, but we can't. We don't facilitate that, and LMIA is, it's employer-led. The employer has to decide that they're going to extend the LMIA to someone, and there's no easy way to find out if which employers do that and which don't. I mean, they don't advertise that because employers are mostly looking for eligible people. Okay, let's move on to other questions, though. Thank you very much, Dennis, though, for the question. It's a very fair question.
Jay, I'm gonna answer to Yonghua. She says she sent several emails about the ICT program, but Yonghua, rather than sending emails, I'm not sure. You just go to g-tac.ca, click on job seekers, and then go to apply today, and you'll see ICT placement program. So rather than sending emails, you should directly apply on the ICT program. And then in this program, they will tell you we're gonna need all your information. And then once you complete this, and if you're eligible, we will connect with you. So I'm not sure what you mean by you send several emails. But the best way to do is actually register online with us. Okay. ICT placement program on g-tac.ca/job-seekers/ and look for ICT placement program. Okay. There's another question, and this is Jay, what's the definition of a convention refugee? Because people, they seems to be is visa and work permit that I have considered how can people get the convention refugee status?
Well, you're granted that status by Immigration Refugee Citizenship Canada. And well, you can't, you don't really apply to it. You do apply for refugee status, but you can't sort of, I mean, this is a tricky question.
Yeah.
You if you had a convention refugee status, you would know. And
Yes.
so
This is the question that you need to check with IRCC, correct?
pretty much, I mean, you would know if you are a convention refugee. You would have been someone that came to Canada and requested asylum as a persecuted person, and you would be rejected or accepted of that status, which is just a temporary status in Canada. And it just, convention refugees are given the opportunity to work and support themselves because they're basically very struggling, poor people that are escaping war and persecution. So since convention refugees have the right to work temporarily, yeah, that is included in terms of eligibility in terms of our G-TAC ICT Boost program. We do not facilitate, certainly do not facilitate application of like, you don't even apply to be, you claim asylum. Once again, we're not involved in immigration, but thank you for that question. It's a very straightforward question. And I gave the answer. Convention refugee is someone who has refugee status and has the legal right to work in Canada temporarily until their true status is determined by the government of Canada, whether they stay or can't. So let's continue on, Shaw. Next question.
Okay. I'm a computer science engineer with experience in telecommunication and space industries with IT skills. The Canadian companies and recruiters, they do not bother to reply back our application. This is for HICOM. Is there any recruiting agencies that can help in the application process?
Well, HICOM, I think a lot of your peers would agree with you that unfortunately, you don't hear back from employers as much as you would hope. Earlier, Shaw himself stated, or it might have been someone else, you just hear back a very minority of the time. I mean, if you apply to 50 jobs, you might hear back from a handful, 10% or less. So that's normal. So HICOM, it's not you, that's just the norm, whether it's you or other people on this call. I mean, you're not really gonna, unfortunately, most of the time, you're probably not gonna hear back. It depends where in Canada you're applying to, because some of the high volume areas like Calgary and Montreal and Toronto, the recruiters are getting such a high amount of applications, particularly for the roles, if they're posting their roles on LinkedIn or jobs boards and even spending ad spend to boost the visibility of their job descriptions, then they get that visibility, but then they get many applications. And there's no way that a recruiter can apply to everyone, and recruiters aren't paid to reply to people. Recruiters are paid to do their job and find the right people. So they want to move people along the interview and screening process. They don't want to answer 300 people to be nice guys and nice girls and be professionals. I think you do get replies when they really liked you and they say, thank you so much for your time. I'm writing you back to, say, to ask your permission. Can we keep your resume on file? Please add me on LinkedIn. That will happen sometimes. Now, the next part of your question, is there any recruiting agencies that can help in the application process? Recruiting agencies, and I used to work for a big private sector one, recruiting agencies work for their corporate clients. So once again, they're also more so serving the employer rather than the employee. But of course, recruiting agents help people get jobs. I don't know where HICOM is, and I don't know his legal status as a Canadian. So HICOM, there's there's private sector recruiting agencies, big ones like Robert Half and Randstad, and there's medium-sized ones. There's many. If you're in Canada, yeah, you could, you can just cold outreach the recruiting agencies and ask to be on their board of available talent, and they will screen you and test you and send you aptitude tests. And they might, yeah, they'll keep you sort of on hand and submit you to open roles that they're filling for their clients. Lastly, Hickham, if you are eligible for the ICT Boost program that Shaw mentioned, which I don't see on the screen, you could bring up the deck, Shaw, or you could bring up the Guosong's contact. If you are eligible, Hickham, if you're an IT professional and you're in Canada and you're a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident or a convention refugee, this program, along with the training and the counseling, we're trying to help these persons in the ICT Boost program get employment opportunities, connections. And if that is not irrelevant to you because of your status, yeah, there are the private sector recruitment agencies. But the thing is, once again, the private sector recruitment agencies, for sure, you need to be eligible to work in Canada 98% of the time. So I just don't know where you are. Okay, so let's continue on with some other questions.
I just have a quick message from Yonghua. I just check our system. I did find your name in our system, but I'm not sure if you registered for the ICT placement program. But what I would strongly suggest is you get in touch with well, if you did not apply directly on the ICT placement program, do so right now on our website that I just showed you. Okay.
Shaw, can you?
Yes.
Shaw, I know you have to go soon. Can you go back to the eligibility page of the PPT, because many people are asking eligibility questions, and let's try and thank you everyone for the questions. I know some people have different status, different permits, so let's make it clear. We want to make it clear and be fair to everyone. Please go ahead, Shaw.
Yeah. So even though some people says I just applied for PR or I got this confirmation number, no. You must have your PR status now, presently, not in the mail, not in the process. No, you must have it. So you obviously you can say that I just applied for my Canadian citizenship, but that's fine. That's because you're PR already, so that's fine. So Canadian citizen, Canadian permanent resident, or convention refugees. Convention refugees means that you will have a refugee status certificate from the IRCC. Okay, so these three status is eligible for our program. For those of you who is not eligible, you're still welcome to use. If you're still interested, you can always register for our one-on-one career coaching service. It's also available. This is a 6-hour, 4-session of four 1.5-hour session, one-on-one private online career coaching session with you. That's available to you. There's a fee, obviously, because this is not government funded. You just book now, and then just follow the instruction, and someone from our team will be in touch with you, and we'll start with your session almost immediately. Okay, so for those of you who's not eligible, and doesn't matter if you're in Canada, you're in the US, or you're outside of Canada, you're all eligible to register for the one-on-one career coaching. There is a fee. I have to tell you, there's a fee. This is not a government funded. This is open to everyone. So for those of you who's not eligible, this could be a viable option as well. Okay.
Also, Shaw, if someone wasn't eligible for the G-TAC ICT Boost program, but they still had an open work permit, we would still encourage you to go to the G-TAC jobs board and apply to jobs.
Yes. Yeah, this is a totally different thing now. This is
right.
Like if you see some of the jobs, right here. You're absolutely welcome to apply. Okay.
Yeah, we wanted to make that clear. We have different initiatives, different ways to support talent like you, and we have many different friends here this morning from Canada and around the world, and you guys are all great people, but have different legal status as Canadians. So I mean, the ICDP's program, because it's government funded, well, there's the eligibility restrictions, but for example, for those of you open work permit or someone was a new graduate with a work permit, I mean, yeah, check out our job openings for sure. You would have the right to move forward with other opportunities that we can convey and share with you. So check out the jobs board.
Jay, I will let you do the closing, and I'm gonna take off now. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you, there's a few of you that's currently in Ottawa right now. Please come and see me and Jay at 300 Moody Drive, second floor this afternoon. We're gonna be there, so please come and meet us in person. If you're here in Ottawa or in Ottawa Gatineau area, please come and see us 300 Moody Drive, second floor. We're gonna be there all afternoon, so come and meet us. Okay, have a nice day, have a nice evening, have a nice afternoon wherever you are. I'll see you next week. Jay, I'll let you close. Okay.
Okay. I was just trying to find something off camera on my other screen. I just see a few more questions. I'll try and address them. I have just finished my master's and have no experience in the industry. Usually when I look at openings, most of them expect to have at least 3 years experience. How do I detect which jobs are entry level? So, well, good question. So how do I detect which jobs are entry level from the description? Well, when they're at least 0 to 3 years experience, I mean, you probably know that. When they're asking for, it's like the question Pedro asked half an hour ago. The employer requires 5+ years experience and I have 4 years of experience. Should I apply? Yes or no? Particularly, I believe your full name is Shala. Yeah, Shala. You graduated from a master's, you have your work projects within the master's, right? And you might have done co-op placement during your master's. I would try and therefore, in a way, say that you have 1 year's work experience or you have 2 years of project experience. A lot of the master's programs are, to a certain extent, there's a lot of project-based work in there. And going back to the the employers stating what they're looking for, or Shala, to help you, for someone that's a new grad, really, look for the co-ops and the internships, particularly some of the bigger employers like IBM Canada. They have a lot of co-ops and internships every year. It's sometimes a bit seasonal because they start in the spring and summer, right, to coincide with graduation. But Shala, that's another piece of advice is, as a new grad, look for the co-op internships, even contract work. Of course, I know you want a full-time job, but some new grads start doing contract work, not full-time work, and Shala, we want to help you at G-TAC, but if you graduated, with your master's, I think you're in a good position and it'll take time, but be open to contract work. When employers are asking for minimum 2 years of experience, maybe put your name in the hat and have your resume state that you have, X amount of years of project work, or list the projects. As a new grad, you need to approach your resume a bit differently, right? Because you don't have 5 years experience or 3 years experience. You lack the years, but so you got to convey your resume more technically and convey the projects that you've done, co-op internships that you've done. I've tried to answer that question, Shala. Thank you very much for the question. Okay, so that addresses most of the questions because some people asked very similar questions. Well, Junard, I have been a mobile software engineering specialist with more than 10 years experience, but it's discouraging to see there are not many opportunities in this field. Is there a program that can help boost my chances of landing a different job transitioning to back-end development? So so our partner in the ICT Boost program, Lighthouse Labs, they have some bridging programs, or they help persons pivot their technical skills. I'm going to put it in the chat function, Junard, because your question is about like really deep technical training, right? Deep technical skills training to pivot to back-end dev from your like front-end iOS dev experience. So we have a relationship with them. There's another one out of Toronto called Cloud Data, but they're more. Anyways, I could go down a rabbit's hole, but let's put it this way: there are some now in the last few years, some good technical private sector institutions that have great bridging programs or like career transition programs. That's what you're talking about, Junard, is like a program that helps you pivot your ICT career as a tenured ICT professional. So they're mid-career training institutions, but they're expensive, to be honest. They do a great job, but they're private sector training institutions, and they're usually $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to participate in their bridging programs. Part-time ones are like $5,000, and the full-time programs are at least $10,000, but their placement rate is high. They'll have a high placement rate, but you have to have the money. You have to be serious. So that's a good question, because that's right, because you're talking about true deep technical upskilling. Okay, so we've gone over time. It's 10 a.m. here in Ottawa, and we really thank everyone for your time today. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a good look at the ICT labor market from a macro perspective. We talked about different areas of Canada and the average salary. And we then took a look at the G-TAC jobs board where we have open roles. We're supporting our employer partners in terms of finding skilled talent for those roles. And there's some people, then we got into, for example, the ICT Boost training program, in which there's no fee, right? I just mentioned Lighthouse Labs and Cloud Data in Toronto. Their technical training programs are quite expensive. Lighthouse Labs, we're not charging people to support them in the career development, but then there's the restrictions based on eligibility, because it's funded heavily by ESTC, by the Government of Canada. But going back to the jobs board, I mean, if you had an open work permit, someone here was a new grad and is looking to, start working in the labor market, these types of persons, unfortunately, we can't support you in the ICT Boost program. Doesn't mean, of course, that you can't engage our jobs board. We also had the G-TAC National Virtual Career Expo on the September the 26th and 27th, where of course we were welcome people from across Canada, new graduates, open work permit holders, even overseas persons that are, quote, future Canadians to engage our digital platform. We intermittently on Tuesdays and Thursdays sometimes have employer partners join Sha Kwan or myself looking for talent. So once again, someone with an open work permit would be good to engage that type of employer. And for those of you that are looking for the LMIA, it's hard to. There's not so much you can do, but you never know. We talked with Pedro. Was it Pedro? Or someone stated that they don't hear back from employers that much. That's just the reality of the situation. But once again, for those of you that are earlier on in your Canadian workforce journey, we do welcome you. You are welcome. I know you're doing your research and you have a plan for you and your family. So even if you don't have your work permit now or your PR status now, I hope you have it, for example, next year, and the journey can start now. Maybe you're just you're educating yourself, you're doing your research more so than someone in the chat function here who was the new graduate and is wanting to enter the labor market right away. But we all have different stages of our journey and our career journey, and all of you are doing the right thing. So that's what I have to say. And once again, really thank you for your time. Feel free to connect with us about the ICT Boost program if you are eligible. And if you're not, we're happy to see you here next week. Also, don't forget about the G-TAC jobs board. And I even shared some other resources outside of G-TAC that might be eligible for some certain people. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Sheldon gives a thumb up. I see that thumbs up, Sheldon. Pigs, see you next week. Oh, and je suis désolé, aujourd'hui je parle un petit peu français parce que mon français est un peu mal, mais à les personnes qui parlent français en ami d'Algérie, le Maroc, ou Québec, bienvenue and welcome. Thank you. Merci pour votre temps. We thank you for your time, and à bientôt, and see you soon. Okay. Have a great day, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.